Alrighty, so pre-market analysis. Let's start with GU. Our swing is bullish, internal is bullish. The idea is basically to just play that push to the upside towards the internal daily high. The internal is weak, so we're expecting it to break potentially and then get some push, some bullish momentum to the upside. On the H4, same thing, we're in phase A, which means that we are pro swing, pro internal. Looking to potentially get a bullish momentum shift going on, or a bullish reaction. So we mitigated EQ, shift to the bullish on the internal, continued with the bullish internal structure shift. We mitigated our last demand, and now we're pushing higher, potentially targeting that internal weak high. On the M15, same thing, we're in phase A, so pro internal, pro swing, pro internal. After we had that internal break of structure yesterday, price today just created another structure, another internal structure. So our internal structure now is that being our internal low and that being our internal high. We just had that chuck, so I expect that we're starting that pullback now. Also, we had that shock from a previous supply. This supply doesn't have inducement, not a strong supply, so I wouldn't be too worried about it, but I would expect that we will get at least a pullback from this supply, right? At least a reaction or a pullback, so I'm still expecting that pullback to kick in and price to continue lower. So in terms of demands, where I'm looking to get in, we have this only extreme demand. This is the only extreme and mitigated demand. Issue with this one is that it doesn't have any adjustment, but it does have a small inside bar inside of it. So we could see a sweep of that low and then push to the upside. That would be valid as the inducement. It would be valid. In case we just break below that demand, right? We can mitigate the demand that is below it that has inducement as well. So we could see something like either price sweeping that inside bar and then giving us an entry and continuing to the upside, right? Or price sweeping that low, that internal low, and giving us an entry directly from the demand and switching bullish. So yeah, we could just see that big wick reaction without any close to the downside and then continuing to the upside, yeah. So that's what I'm looking at basically, just the market execute once price failed to close below that internal low, or if we get a sweep of that inside bar with an entry, then I can just take an entry and keep stop loss below the low. Yeah, so that's everything for GU. Let's see EU now. On the daily, we're in phase C basically, trying to play that pullback till that supply. That supply doesn't have inducement, so I'm not too worried about it. I don't think it will hold. But in case it does, then we're gonna just react and see how it goes. But for now, I'm just following the fractal structure and the internal structure. So, okay, there we go. So I'm still following that price action to the upside, right? Until we mitigate that supply. Then we could see perhaps some sort of reaction to the downside or pullback, or we could see continuation bullish. So on the H4, swing is bearish, internal is bullish, looking to play that pullback, that phase A and that phase C, sorry, until we reach EQ. Looking at recent price action, that's our that's our internal low H4. We mitigated that demand, and now we're expecting price to continue bullish, potentially breaking that internal high. On the M15, we're in phase A, pro swing, pro internal. We had the IBOS, the internal breakout structure just tonight, so we could see price continuing to the upside from it. So because we had that internal breakout structure, I'm not expecting price to pull back any deeper. I'm just expecting price to pull back to the nearest first demand and then continue bullish. Looking at what demands we have and what's mitigated. So we do have this unmitigated demand right there. We do have this one as an mitigated demand as well. And we have this last flip. That is that one. So the flip for me doesn't have any sort of inducement. So I would not be considering buys from here. But if price reach this demand, then I'm considering to be aggressive and get into buys. I would love to wait for chalk from this demand, as we still have another one here that has inducement and it's not mitigated. So I would wait for chalk here and then take price potentially to that M15 swing high on one push. We have some sort of supply right there, but it doesn't have any inducement, so I'm not too worried about it. This is not a strong supply. I don't think it will hold, so I believe that if we get that push to the upside, we could just break that swing high, right? If we get that pullback, we can just break that swing high and get 4-hour momentum shift to the upside. And yeah, so that's everything. I would prefer if we get GU, just because, well, GU has the extreme, and if we mitigate the extreme, we could, be safe and protect our entry with putting stops below POI. But in case we don't, then we'll just wait for a chalk. If in case we don't have an entry there, we just wait for a chalk from this demand, or an aggressive LC2A from the demand below it. And yeah, so that's everything basically that I'm looking at. Let's see if price will give us an entry. We don't have any news today, but we do have an FP in 2 days on Friday. And yeah,